Do you guys like music?
Yeah, what's up with music?
Fans of music?
I've heard of it. I'm thinking about checking it out.
Whose beauty killed the beast?
Not quite like them.
Hang on, and I'll cut you like a fish.
You just gotta keep living, man.
No, this guy's an action star.
Favorite non-pornographic magazine.
Put that cookie down!
Why do I fall in love with every woman I see who shows me the least bit of attention?
I love you.
You are one pathetic loser.
Here we go. Welcome to History of Popcorn. Consider this your secret public movie club. We are a podcast that celebrates all things movies. We react to the latest industry news and speculation. We do movie reviews and discuss just about everything movies and entertainment. We have new episodes every Tuesday. You can find us on Spotify, Apple, or anywhere you listen to podcasts, as well as a visual episode on YouTube. Hello.
Hey-o.
We are your hosts. I'm Elijah.
I'm Chris.
And I'm Jake. Hello.
And yeah, as you can see, we've got a very special guest. We've got producer Chris back on the show, and also a new guest. He's a friend of the show. He's the host of the podcast Gump Street. Everyone, please welcome Jake. Do we want to just call you Jake? Do you have a last name?
Let's just do Jake. That's better.
His name is Jake. We got producer Chris and Jake on the podcast. Welcome, guys.
Thank you.
All the homies.
Excited to be here.
I feel like whenever we have a guest or something, we ask a couple questions, Jake. And I know I didn't give you these questions to prep beforehand. So I'm putting you on the spot.
Okay.
But what kind of popcorn do you like?
I guess I had some, I remember at the beach, they would sell big, like, aluminum tins of popcorn. Those places on like the boardwalk popcorn, and they would come in like caramel and like salt and all these different flavors. Is there anything that's generally dusted? Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Like they sell like those popcorn dusts. That's good stuff.
Okay. So you like to spice it up a little bit.
Oh yeah, definitely a spice guy.
I'm still kind of grossed out by Chris's popcorn stories where he would talk about putting mayonnaise on them or jalapeno juice.
It's a white guy thing.
What the? No, it's not. That's not.
You said it was a poor people meal.
Mayonnaise, dude. What are you talking about?
Gives it a creaminess.
Creaminess. Yeah, because when I think of popcorn, I want cream.
Yeah, right. It's a crispy snack.
I'm still flabbergasted by that. But every week I ask also what I usually start the episode with. What has everyone been watching, or do you guys have any recommendations that have come up on your radar recently?
Oh, yeah.
Or have you seen anything you're like, wow, that was good, or even if it's not good?
I'd seen this before, but I rewatched it recently. Spotlight, the movie Spotlight about the Catholic priest debacle in Boston. I think that movie is just fantastic. It's like a great pace. It's got a great like piano soundtrack the entire way through. It's also, for some reason, it's like weirdly relaxing because it's just people talking to each other. And for some reason, I think tragic movies make good for falling asleep too, because I don't know why. But
I heard that movie compared to The King's Speech a lot because it was just talking the whole time.
Yeah.
But people liked it. Like, it was good talking.
Yeah, it's great
That's what
dialogue.
Oppenheimer is too, though.
Yeah, Oppenheimer has a very like epic kind of.
It's an action movie that's all dialogue.
Yeah, for sure.
But you like to fall asleep to tragedy? That seems like an interesting thing to dive into. Tragedy helps you sleep?
Tragedy movies, not actual tragedy. But like,
just tragedies.
Like, all right, my list is Fargo, the movie Fargo, Wind River, Manchester by the Sea, and I think Spotlight is now on that list. These movies are all so calming. In terms of just dialogue, they're great to fall asleep
Which one's Wind River? Is that Jeremy Renner?
It is Jeremy Renner, yeah, and the Olsen. Elizabeth Olsen, I think.
The Olsen.
One of them.
I think I've only seen one of those movies, actually. Yeah, out of all those, Fargo's the only one I've seen, actually. But I know I have to see the other ones.
They're all very good.
There's a lot of movies I have to see. People would be very disappointed and be like, do you have a podcast and you haven't seen those ones?
The movie podcast guy.
That's okay. It doesn't diminish my love of movies or anything. What about you, Chris? What reality shows have you been watching?
we actually started a game show recently. We've been watching Pop Culture Jeopardy, and I've signed up to try to get on to the next season of it.
Oh,
You
yes.
should have asked me to be on your team.
We could. It's teams of 3.
Yeah, I could have. I'd be on your team.
I think you'd be. I think you would be actually a good teammate for that. Yeah, it's just like solo applications or whatever. So Alexis submitted one for me. We sit and play it, and I'll be playing games, and I'll look over my shoulder and be like, "Oh, I know that. Oh, that's you."
Yeah, when I started to watch Pop Culture Jeopardy, that's where I was like, I understand why people just pop on like Jeopardy for years and years. Now that it's pop culture, I'm like, I can do that.
Yeah.
If it's just if it's real life stuff, I'm like, I can't do that.
As soon as they ask any question that's like a book or beyond literature, like, just stuff that's not in the normal zeitgeist, I'm like, I don't know anything about this.
Yeah. I get confused by the question sometimes. I'm like, oh, I just didn't get the question. Because there's hints in the question a lot of times.
Yeah, sometimes like you don't necessarily have to know what they're talking about. You just have to know what the question is trying to get to.
Yeah, and that's what makes me feel stupid sometimes. I'm like, oh, it's right there.
Yeah.
Part of it.
Jeopardy's half about just knowing the question and answering in a question. A lot of questions in Jeopardy.
A lot of pun stuff in there that go over my head. We recently saw the Thunderbolts movie. I think we could talk about it a little bit without spoiling it because I don't think Jake's seen it yet.
Put up this is where you can put your spoiler alert graphic.
We're not going to do spoilers yet because I don't think Jake's seen it yet, so we can't spoil it for him.
Right.
That's fair.
What's your spoiler?
After sitting on it for a few days, I'm bumping it from a 3.5 to a 4. Is what
out of what?
Out of 5.
Oh God! All right.
Sorry,
that's terrible.
You know what? I took it from literal trash to pretty garbage.
Recycling.
Yeah, recycling. Yeah, I think you described it pretty good. If you're like, go to therapy, the movie.
Yeah, it was a real
pretty good description of it.
Here's a problem we all face. Look at it.
I don't know anything about this movie, so that synopsis is
giving you without spoilers. It's the Avengers trying to come back, but not the Avengers. I guess that's a terrible.
It's about the sad Avengers. What if all the Avengers are sad?
Yeah.
Oh, it's tragic. I might like this.
It is pretty tragic, actually. There's some good performance though. I think everyone does a good job. I don't think there's
Elaine from Seinfeld's in it, and that's a bit jarring at first, but she actually I think did good. I think she did good. I was surprised.
This is like her third appearance in the MCU, but she's been in like TV shows and stuff, and like a post-credit scene or something.
Yeah, she normally does more like dramatic roles, so it was interesting to see her in something. I guess not really lighthearted, but
it was funny to see her in the press conferences because like you could tell that everyone was already kind of used to being in the MCU and being interviewed for that stuff because it's kind of just like popcorn, you know. Mm-hmm. And they're like, even Sebastian Stan, who plays the Winter Soldier, he's like so worn out by the questions that Marvel asks when he's on the Marvel movies because he just did like some crazy Oscar-nominated movies with playing Trump and playing this guy with a defect called A Different Man. So he's just in the award season circuit. And you can just tell he's kind of miserable being back to the Marvel press. He's like, I just showed up and did my stuff. And even when he was like, they're like talking about him as a cast member, they're like, he would show up on set not knowing what he was going to do because they didn't give him the script. And he's like, I just show up, say my line, and go.
Can you flash a screen? Can you flash a picture of him from the movie here at this part of the podcast? Because man, did he look like he was not happy to be there in every single scene of that movie.
Yeah, but he's also plays the Winter Soldier. He's also a very, very sad guy too. He's just the sad guy. He's the sad Captain America guy.
What does he say? Like he's like, no, there's nothing traumatic in my past. Nothing to worry about.
Yeah, he's like, I've had a perfect life, so I'm fine. But I'd still stick with the 3.5. There's nothing that blew me away. I'm glad we saw it in IMAX because there are some scenes where I was like, I'm glad I saw that in the biggest screen possible because there's some scenes where there's some flying involved with one of the characters, and it's just like the scene where he learns to fly is like, wow, that was a good scene. I like that.
Spoilers.
They, them, it.
It reminded me of Chronicle a lot.
Oh, Chronicle
Yeah.
was awesome. That was fun.
Chronicle's very good.
in like terms of the way they shot it.
Yeah, I thought it was really well done, but it didn't blow me away with anything cinematically or anything like that. But it did what it had to do. I do like the. I didn't want to say it, but they are saying it's back to form with the MCU of movies that you care about again. But I will say that it's just one movie, so you can't say they're back to form until they get like 3 in a row that you're like, those were all good.
Yeah.
Because the last 4 movies were bad.
Is the director for this one doing anything else? Marvel
I think
related?
he's making not Marvel related right now. He probably will after the success of Thunderbolts. They'll probably ask him to come back. He did. Have you ever seen the show Beef on Netflix?
Ooh.
That's all right. That's where I
that.
knew the name from. Was that?
That's so good. I'm so excited for season 2. They're making that right now for Netflix.
Whoa. He's directed Beef?
Yeah, he's the director of Beef.
Dang.
And one of the co-creators of it, I think.
That's
Jake
awesome.
Schreier, I think his name is. Yeah, he did really good. Let's see. Since we've had since our last episode, I saw Sinners. Have either of you guys seen Sinners yet?
No.
Next week.
Keep hearing
Next
about
week.
It our mutual friend Delon messaged me about it, and he was like, "I'm about to see Sinners. What'd you think of it?" And I was like, "That movie gave me what's it called? Hope for the future of original ideas in movies because it was so good." I gave it a 4 out of 5 stars. It does a lot. It's not a perfect movie like everyone is saying. It's hyped up a lot, but it deserves the hype because it's been a while since an original movie has had this type of impact, I think, on culture. And I would highly recommend people to see it. You can see my review on YouTube if you guys want to see the full non-spoiler review.
Check it
Most
out.
of that on YouTube. Yeah. What else did I watch?
Is there? Can I ask you about Sinners?
Yeah.
Is there a music
Of course.
part of it? Is it a musical?
Yeah. It is a musical, but it's not in the way they'll break out into song and dance. It's all written into the script of people performing blues music at this like bar that they make. It's about these brothers who start a bar and they hire the whole beginning of the movie is them getting like the entertainment for the bar, being like, we want people who's going to perform. So you meet these characters who are going to perform, and the way they do it is so good because everyone's just. There's this one scene that you'll know it when you see it is this one long take during a performance, and it's just so well done, and it's such a cool idea. The music is incredible. It's one of the better albums in a while that I've heard for a movie. The guy who did the music for the movie is Ludwig Göransson or something.
No way. Ludwig did this?
Oh,
Yeah,
you know
he
the
did
music.
Oh.
He did the music for Childish Gambino.
Hell yeah, dude.
And he's worked with in the Black Panther movies too. So this was a recollaboration with Ryan
That's
Coogler.
awesome.
It's a really, really good movie.
With a name like that, how could he not?
Yeah, it does get very brutal by like the end, toward the end. It gets very like Quentin Tarantino, bloody. Like it gets really, really violent, but it does a very good job. It's not really, really, really scary, but it's a little disturbing at times with the violence because it is a violent movie.
Yeah.
But it does a lot with so much, and it works. So that's like one of the main highlights since our last episode that I've seen. But I also saw Van Wilder for the first time. Have you guys ever seen that? Ryan Reynolds movie?
Like American Pie?
A classic in cinema.
It's National Lampoon.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Ryan Reynolds, right?
Ryan Reynolds. It was kind of what got me started.
Cal
I loved
Penn
it.
From
Cal Penn
Harold and
shows
Kumar's
up.
in it too, right?
Yeah, and there's a sequel with Cal Penn. After seeing the first one, I loved it. I mean, Ryan Reynolds was so dang charismatic back in the day. I can see why people are tired of him now because he's just doing the same thing over and over. But when you see him as a young guy who's like still in college, like I'm like, I get it. I know why he's a movie star now because he's so funny in that. It was a really good one, actually. It took me a long time for me until I saw that.
That's such a random, like, was that recommended to you? Like,
it came up in a conversation, yeah, where people were quoting it, and we were like, me and my brother hadn't seen it, so we were like, let's watch it. Let's just watch it. It was like 4 a.m. So some drinks and some lack of sleep may have been a part of why I was laughing so much, but I thought it was actually really well done because it's like 2003 or something.
Yeah,
It's very
They were making movies for fun back then.
That was the era of
just,
Euro Trip and dog terrible movies that were so funny at the time.
I will say there's this one, the grossest scene in the movie involves some donuts, some cream-filled donuts, and that almost took me out of it. But the way
watching them eat them
probably was there's a scene where they do that, and
it's just I think I've had these.
In the background. I think I've had these before. That made me laugh. That background dialogue. There's this one more movie before we get into our full episode. There's this movie called Hell of a Summer. Have you guys heard of this?
Hell of a Summer. No. Is it a horror movie?
Is that the Timothy Chalamet one? No,
that one is Wet Hot
Long
Summer
Nights.
Like that. Long Summer Nights or something. But Hell of a Summer was written and directed by Finn Wolfhard of Stranger Things.
The other Timothy Chalamet.
He wrote and directed this movie with his friend Billy Bierk. They were I think 19 years old when they made it, which is very surprising that someone gave them money to do this. But they're
just giving that to anybody now, huh?
But they did a good job with this movie. It's a love letter to slashers, like summer camp slashers, and I thought they did a really good job. It's not the best movie that they try to do like a twist ending sort of thing, or it's kind of like a whodunit because it's a slasher movie. So when you get to the end of it, you're kind of like, oh, okay. But you can kind of go along with it regardless of how jarring and quick everything kind of switches. But then they go along with it for long enough where you kind of believe it. So that was actually a pretty good one. I think it'll end up coming out on Hulu at some point. I rented it, but if it comes out on Hulu at some time, I think you guys might actually like it. They've got some good characters. Honestly, I don't want to burn bridges by saying this, but Finn Wolfhard was probably the worst part because he cast himself in it. Him and Billy Bierk, who wrote and directed it, are also in it. But the character that Finn Wolfhard plays, he doesn't do it justice. He kind of just says his lines and tries to cue the jokes that he's trying to do. But I think it pays off in the end because Billy Bierk, the other co-writer and director, he steals the show, him and the main guy. So that would be one of my recommendations too, is Hell of a Summer. It just came out like a month ago maybe. So I put that on your list if it ever comes up.
Interesting. It's so difficult. Well, not from experience, but directors who also star in their movies, Ben Stiller did Tropic Thunder. It's so difficult to be able to direct and get what you want out of the actors while you're also one of them. You'll be in a scene with actors, but you can't. You're trying to direct and also act at the same time, and that's so difficult. And to try to accomplish that at such a young age is a really daunting task. And that's
I took that into consideration when I was watching. I'm like, you know what? For 19-year-olds, this was pretty good.
Yeah, nice.
It took them a while to get it distributed, but I put that into consideration too, because I feel like he wasn't going to correct himself, and I feel like his what's it called, co-writer and director, I don't think he really gave him as many notes either, because that would kind of be a little difficult. I feel like I don't know. I've directed Chris one time in a short film that we did for fun, and I was like, I don't want to give him too many notes, I just kind of want to I put him in it because it's I wanted him in it. So if he makes those choices, I'm not one to be change it,
Right.
I'm one of those directors who's if I put someone in it, if I cast someone in something or have them in it, I'm not expecting them to do more than what they're doing, because I expect I trust them in a way. So I can kind of see why that would happen. We've got an exciting episode, I think, today. I think we got a good idea of, because I know how. Do you guys like music?
Yeah, what's up with music?
Of music?
I've heard of it. I'm thinking about checking it out.
We've got a pretty music-oriented episode today, aside from one story, and that story involves Sydney Sweeney. And if you don't know who Sydney Sweeney is, we'll talk about her toward the end of the episode. But at first, we're going to be talking about movies related to music, either bands. Actually, all of our stories are related to musicians today, which is exciting.
Wow.
So before we get into the movie news, here's the prompt I have for you guys: is what musical artist or bands do you think should make their way into movies? Whether it's a musical biopic or a musical or movie that just only has their music. Sort of like Across the Universe was a movie that had all Beatles songs. but it wasn't about the Beatles. I feel like I know what Chris would say.
Yeah, I was going to say, there's an obvious one for me.
I think I know what Chris would say. That's why I thought about using that one for myself, if I am thinking correctly, but I'm like, I think Chris might say that, but I'm going to agree with him.
I think we're just gonna rip the Band-Aid off. The Gorillaz, for sure, I think is criminally underutilized in movies. I think like everybody knows their main 3 hits, you know, but once you really start kind of exploring their further discography, like he's made music that's simple and easy earworms on purpose, and I think that fits for movies really simply. So even if you're using it as like a backing track to a movie, I think that's easy enough, but they've attempted to start up so many different revivals of the cartoon show and trying to make some kind of living universe that you can like go into for the Gorillaz. They have like a
lore,
website.
Actually.
What's that?
They have deep lore for their characters.
Oh yeah. The lore it's obnoxious, to be honest with you.
So you would want a Gorillaz story about gorillas, like the characters, or would you just want a movie that uses their music?
In like the early 2000s, I want to say like 2009, 2010, somewhere in there, they had a website that you could go to that like was the most in-depth lore thing that you could possibly like get onto at that time. And I remember being like 12 years old, like obsessively trying to figure out how to get to the little island thing that was on the background of the website that you had to like click through or whatever, and like trying to do all these like really, really in-depth things just so I could learn like where their bassist slept, like, or what like their bedroom looked like. Well, you saw it in Dare, and you're like, you saw the music video Dare, and you're like, all right, well, that's Noodle's bedroom that's in that video clearly. Who is this giant head that lives in her room?
Right.
This doesn't make any sense.
It's there.
Okay.
Yeah,
so you want a Gorillaz movie that expands on the lore.
Yeah, I mean, I think if people
cool.
like fans have mashed up just their music videos before just to make like a long-ended story, and it's pretty entertaining. I mean, obviously as a fan, I'm like, whoa, this is cool, but they really did try to add layers to it, and I think that was the whole purpose of it, was to not only have a band but also like a media thing that you could use and like make something off of, a comic or a show or whatever, but I think that idea is a bit novelty, and so it's probably never gotten off the floor for a reason. It's also probably really expensive to animate.
Yeah, let's go back to the 90s animation style.
Well, that's what, yeah, I agree with you.
Yeah, I don't like the 3D models that they have now. I like
it doesn't need to be that pretty, no.
Yeah, they probably, actually, I think it's harder to do that now, is the older style, because that was all like hand-drawn and like very meticulous. Now everything's kind of like, I hate to say it, but it's very AI centric, especially animation, but I think it'd probably save you money if it was the new way. But it would be less cool. Like what they're doing with Across the Spider-Verse and Into the Spider-Verse, that is a dying art. That's why it's taking so long.
That was what I was going to say, is like you have to go to one of the two extremes. Like you have to go to the Spider-Verse extreme where your animation is so over the top that it's incredible, or you need to go like real low scale, real like just save all your cash you possibly can to put into everything else.
It's funny that you brought up that website that was later on. There was this website that came out, I think with their first album, their self-titled album. Is it self-titled? Mm-hmm. Yeah, around like 2003, like the album with like Clint Eastwood and all that. There was this website that came out with that one too, where you could just click around and see the world of Gorillaz. And it was one of the scariest websites I had ever been on at the time, because I was so young. Like I was, I don't know, like 7 or 6 or something. And I was clicking around, and it was one of the scariest sites because the imagery was so weird and so dark, and you just like clicked around this whole website. You just go left and right. You couldn't go up or down, and you like had a flashlight so you could just like highlight things. And I think there was like this like really creepy naked goblin guy, and I was like, what the hell? And
his name's Murdoch.
It had like I remembering this wrong, but he had like a goblin, and I was like, oh my god. And I like clicked out of the website.
Yeah, that's Murdoch.
And I was like, it was one of the most scarring things that I remember. So it's funny that they still do those type of websites, because I remember seeing the first one back in the day, and it just freaked me out.
I mean, that was the Wild West back then.
They had websites all the way through Plastic Beach, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, they did it smart. They do have a deep lore of everything going all the way back to their first album. So
you got me that almanac years ago. I still flip through every once in a while. He got me like this big, giant, huge book. It's like yay thick.
Has a bunch of artwork and stuff.
Lore and
I think
lore
you
and
probably
lore.
showed me this. Is that where you got that from?
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
I think I agree with you that would be a really, really good project. You said you would want it to be about gorillas, like the characters.
I think you could use their music in more like that like of course, like yeah, definitely. I think for sure a gorillas based project would be great. But to further expand on the question, like I think their music's underutilized in media. Like I think that, everybody knows like the I'm happy, I'm feeling sad song, but outside of that, like there's other stuff that could be used, but I think people don't want to use because they're a mainstream band. Like putting a Metallica song in something is like, it's not really taboo per se, but unless you're using it real particularly, a real like, you almost become like a joke at that point, I feel like, and I think people are afraid to do that.
Yeah, I feel like they're probably pretty expensive to use just because when people hear them, you're like, oh my God, it's gorillas.
Yeah, that's a good point.
But what about you, Jake? What artists or bands do you think should have a biopic, musical, or movies should just use their music more?
I think in terms of like a biopic, I think the artist Bon Iver has like a really interesting story, and like he has permeated mainstream music now. To where like he's made 2 songs with Taylor Swift. Going back farther, he worked on 2 Kanye West albums, and plus like back in the MySpace days, he was the MySpace guy. I'm pretty sure like the most successful MySpace artist, especially in terms of like indie music. And the whole story about him making his first album in a cabin while he had pneumonia after like a bad breakup or whatever.
Yeah, he was like almost dying.
Yeah, it's just a really fascinating story. And every time I hear him talk, like in interviews or on stage, like he just seems like the most humble guy. And he still lives in like Wisconsin, in the same town he grew up in. He plays at that festival they host every year, the Eau Claire Festival. And it's just like, I don't know, he's just a fascinating character. And I think he would make for an interesting biopic.
Yeah, I have to agree with you. That's an incredible choice. That he has been under the radar for a long time, and I think he just made his first late night appearance like a month ago, and like being interviewed. And he's been around since like 2008 or 7 or something, like around there.
Yeah,
when, like Skinny Love blew up and all that stuff.
Yeah,
his first album. Like growing up in Minnesota, I have like a lot of friends who are in the music, like do music as well, and they're like in the city. But they're like, they've ran into Bon Iver so many times just because of how close it is to where he lives in Wisconsin. And they go to Wisconsin a lot. So they're like, but they say that he's like a figure that they don't want to approach because they're like, oh my God. Because he looks just like he looks like a normal man, But like they're like so well versed in his songwriting and everything that they're just like, he's like someone we don't even want to walk up to and be like, you're Bon Iver.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to talk to you. He's kind of like royalty up there. And so I think that's a really good choice. That'd be an incredible biopic, actually, because he's worked with so many people that you wouldn't think. Like, I guarantee you a lot of people didn't know he did music with Taylor Swift and Kanye West.
Yeah.
And a lot of other artists. That's a really good choice.
Tons of artists, yeah.
Do you think maybe that's who introduced Kanye and Taylor?
Jokes.
That's a really good choice. I like both your choices. Mine doesn't seem as exciting. Mine is it's just my favorite band, which is Kings of Leon. I think they would have a really good... It doesn't even necessarily have to be a biopic about them because they're kind of just like a generic, grew up in the church and then left the church and made rock and roll music, Southern rock. But I think their style of Southern rock would be really good for a movie that's just around the South, and they just integrate it kind of like an across the universe type of movie where they just only use Kings of Leon songs and base their story off the stories of the songs they've written. I just like the sound and how a lot of their albums don't ever sound the same. They got a lot of different sounds. So I'd choose Kings of Leon.
That's another band I agree with you is not used enough in media. Like their music's great. And
yeah, they only use like one song, I feel like, and that's like Use Somebody and stuff. But I would also like to hear Fred again make an entire soundtrack for a movie where it doesn't have anything related to Fred again. He's just producing the music. He's just doing the score. I think that could be really like some kind of, I don't know. I think
you should do a sci-fi movie, like space.
Yeah, like that's the word I was trying to think of. It's like something like sci-fi, but not really sci-fi, but like a on that like spectrum. I think he can make some really good music. Even not that. I think he's just a really good producer. I'd be interested to see what he would do as a score. But did either of you guys watch or hear about this movie, Paradise Records, Logic's new movie that he wrote, directed, and starred in?
Logic? No. Hold on. What's going on with this?
I sent this to Chris last night. It actually looks really good. I know Logic's been involved with a lot of other projects. I know he's got albums and songs titled Bobby Tarantino, so he's very influenced by Quentin Tarantino in movies and stuff. Mm-hmm. So you can see that he's always had a love for that kind of art on top of his music, and he's finally pulling that all together. He's also acted a lot in the last few years. Like, he was a big collaborator of Joseph Gordon-Levitt's. He was in a show that he made called Mr. Corman or something on Apple, which was a good show, but it got canceled. But Logic's been making his way around with cameos and just acting, and he's finally made this movie called Paradise Records, which looks really good, actually. It's premiering, I forgot which. I think it's the Toronto Film Festival? I forget. Is he from Canada?
Up on the screen?
Is he from Canada?
He's from Maryland native, by the way. No big deal.
Yeah,
Maryland?
East Coaster. Yeah.
Yeah, shout out to Maryland.
He might be premiering his movie at the Toronto Film Festival this summer. I could be wrong. If you're on the visual episode, it will be corrected. But if you're not, then just assume it's the Toronto Film Festival. It's one of the film festivals this summer. But it looks really good, actually. It looks really entertaining. It's got a lot of cameos. Jay and Silent Bob look like they show up. And it looks like he might be taking influence or even wanting to be in the same universe as those characters. Because it seems it's about Logic running a record store that's dying. And there's this one line that makes me so funny, that made me laugh so hard. Even when I watched it twice. Makes me so funny. Fills me with funny.
Sorry, that was a good one.
Yeah. They're like trying to come up with ways to save the record store, and one of his friends is like, why don't you just like sell the entire catalog of records? He's like, not to sound like a bitch or anything, but that's literally what I've been trying to do with this record store. It's my job. He's like, I'm trying to sell records.
That's hilarious.
Like, oh yeah.
Nice.
So it's pretty good writing from what I've seen. The directing looks pretty exciting as well. So I'm looking forward to that. That just came out like earlier when I was making this outline. I was like, oh, that trailer just dropped. That looks promising. So
nice.
I just wanted to put that on your radar.
Logic gets a weird rap. Well, he gets a lot of like just randomness, his raps or whatever. But I don't think there's many people working harder than that guy in terms of just like constantly in things, constantly a part of stuff. Like, he is always working.
Yeah, I think he was an artist that I didn't really take into consideration until like a few years ago when he was like, I'm done, I'm retiring for a while, and I was like, what?
He retired for like a month. He dropped another album.
Yeah, when he did that though, I was like, what? There's not going to be any more Logic? That's when it kind of hit me. I was like, I think I'm a Logic fan. Because I was shocked. I was like, I was going to miss him. But then he came back and I was like, oh, yeah. Yeah,
exactly. Well, he's got a rap because like people call him corny or whatever, you know. Like there was like, what was that album? Everybody. He started being like, I'm half black, and everybody just started dogging on him for it. They're like, just every time he was mentioned for a few years' time, they would always just be like, did you know he was half black?
Yeah. Well, and he has the whole "Don't Kill Yourself" album or whatever. The Suicide Hotline.
That song was
the
badass
Suicide Hotline.
Isn't it?
I think that song has like Alessia Cara or something, and she's like one of my favorite singers.
And then Khalid, And, you know, I remember, like, the first time I heard that, I was like, man, this is, like, really serious shit. And then there's that part of, like, the second verse where it goes, who can relate? Woo!
Who can relate?
Woo! Totally, I was like, all right.
I don't want to die today.
The rest of the song is great. I think the rest of the song is not corny, but, like, the topic, and then just going, woo! Like, it totally took me out of it. Don't kill yourself.
Who wants to kill themselves? Jump! Jump!
Yo, in the back.
Yeah. I'm one of those. I'm on the Logic train of just being like, I think he's got good intentions with the things he makes. Yeah, and if you're not corny, it means you're not really trying. You know, like I think corniness is fine sometimes. So
just not on the
internet. You gotta be, you gotta not be afraid to be cringe, otherwise you won't grow. Like I think that's what I think anyway.
Agreed.
So we're going to get into some movie news, guys. This is what the podcast is all about. I'm excited to hear what you guys have to say about all this stuff. What are your guys' opinions of Anderson .Paak?
Don't forget the dot. He paid for it.
Oh, yeah,
Anderson .Paak.
There you go. There's a... I just recently, we did an event through my work at Adidas, and he was the celebrity that showed up.
Ooh.
Adidas.
Adidas.
He looked incredible.
Did you say I eat ass?
Adidas.
I swear Jake said I eat ass.
No, it's
Adidas?
Adidas.
We got him on record, boys. Book him.
Caught.
He was there. He is a little guy. I forget that every time I've seen him.
What?
I've seen him in concert probably 6 or 7 times now. He's the best. He rules.
He's really good.
Did you have to talk to him? Be like, hey, what's up?
I walked by him and was like, Andy side stick, and gave him and he gave me a.
What is that? I actually
it's like his old. It's like one of his old names.
Andy
side stick. He's a drummer, right? Yeah.
Yeah. He's a funk
Was that like
master.
a move he did? Maybe a side stick thing. I wouldn't know. What do you think of Anderson .Paak, Jake?
I think he's cool. I loved his like old solo stuff before he was doing. And I'm not an expert or anything. Like I remember hearing him on like he used to feature a lot. Like I remember what was that that magazine that did the rappers every year?
Double XL freshman.
Double XL freestyle. Yeah, the freshman freestyle. I remember his was like having him on there was tight. That was a great year for rap in general. And then the album he did with Bruno Mars was tight. 24 Karat Magic is still a banger.
Silk Sonic, yeah.
Yep. And then his NPR thing he did where he was drumming while singing was like really impressive. Yeah, he's just all around tight. I like him.
Dang. The Double XL freshman that he's on is Designer.
And then
Anderson
Lil Dicky.
.Paak and Little Dicky.
Yes, right.
Wow.
Yeah, Lil Dicky's was amazing. And the Designer's just.
What happened to Designer? He got in trouble, didn't he? For like
he's like in
on
some
an airplane?
something like that.
Wait,
yeah,
he did what on an airplane?
He touched himself on an airplane when he was like really high and he didn't realize that there's other people.
Yeah, if I remember. Yeah. Indecent exposure because he masturbated in front of a. Elijah, you'll like this. He was traveling from Tokyo to Minneapolis.
To Minneapolis? Okay, I love it now. I can relate. I can now relate. Who can relate? Woo! Wow, yeah. I haven't heard him. I think the last thing I heard that he did beside that plane incident was he was in like the last Purge movie or something.
Yeah, I think he
made
was
a cameo.
Panda.
That's weird.
He's that guy. He has broads in Atlanta.
Yeah, what an interesting choice. So Anderson .Paak, he's making his way into writing and directing. This is his first time directing a movie. He's also starring in it. This movie is called K-Pop. And the synopsis goes as BJ, played by Paak, is a washed-up drummer with a love for music that's both naive and obsessive. When his friend pushes him to travel to South Korea and work on a pop idol show, he meets Tae Young, who's played by Anderson .Paak's real son. What's his name? I think it's Sol Rashid, his name is. Who plays a young performer in competition to be the nation's next music star. Soon, BJ, played by Paak, is introduced to Tae Young's mother, Yeji, a woman he had a brief relationship with more than a decade ago. And Tae Young finds out that Tae Young is the son he never knew existed. BJ makes up for lost time, showing a sincere interest in getting to know his son while helping his troupe bring something special to their music and choreography. But in the background, BJ's desire for stardom persists, tempting him to choose between fame or family once again.
Interesting.
So he shot this in South Korea, and he cast his real son. He wrote and directed it. And I'm surprised we haven't heard anything about this because it premiered last year at the Toronto International Film Festival. And so far, I haven't seen any distributor pick it up. So I'm hoping this movie sees the light of day, that someone bought it, but I haven't seen anyone who purchased it. There's this company called Stampede Ventures who did purchase it, but they have deals with Prime Video and Netflix and some other theater releases. but I haven't seen anything coming out with this. I just want to know, what do you guys think Anderson Paak's vision of directing and writing is going to be? Do you guys kind of trust it? Have you seen anything that he's done yet? He's only directed 3 music videos at this point.
Well, I would say that's a big step up from a music video, directing
For sure.
feature-length film.
I think if there was anybody that could do it, he could, for sure. Yeah, I would trust him for something like this. Especially something kind of like unique like this. I think that's not all that unheard of. Like, like for it to not be like an action movie or like something silly like that, like it's kind of his own original thing. I think it'll be fine.
Jumping into the Korean pop like section seems like I didn't think Anderson Paak would do something like that, but maybe it's a culture that he knows better than I do.
He's his family's Korean. Yeah, he's got like a pretty strong Asian influence. You can hear it.
I think his ex-wife and I think what's his name? Sol Rashid is half Korean as well, because I think he married a Korean woman.
Yeah, he was married to a Korean lady for a little while too. Yeah, a fine-looking Korean lady.
The 3 music videos he directed was "Cut 'Em In," featuring Rick Ross and Anderson Paak, and Leon Bridges' Motorbike, and the Haley Steinfeld music video "Coast," which he's also in.
Riding on my
But one of the co-writers of this, did you guys ever see that short film that was accompanying the Across the Spider-Verse movie called The Spider Within, where Miles Morales fights with anxiety? It's like a 15-minute short film about him fighting anxiety.
Like real anxiety, or is that a villain?
Yeah, it's a real villain, Jake. Anxiety is a villain we all have to fight sometimes. But yeah, no, it's literally him just having like performance issues of being like, I don't know if I can do this sort of thing. Called The Spider Within. And the woman who wrote that, her name is Kayla Amazon, wrote the script based off of the story that Anderson Paak wrote. So I think this could be really exciting.
I don't think it's gonna like win stuff, but it'll be fun.
It could though. Who knows? Yeah. Toronto International Film Festival is a big deal, and I'm just nervous because I haven't heard anything about it since then, which was last summer. So who knows? Maybe it'll come out at the end of this year. I hope it gets distributed. I hope it sees the light of day. But I heard about this a few years ago and then just went silent. But knowing that it's finished and I hope we see it. Like, it seems like it could really put Anderson Paak on a new level that would make me very excited.
I wonder if the success of Silk Sonic made this not as crucial of a project for him.
I heard that also, since he's also very busy, because he also has like that No Worries project, and he's like doing a bunch of music all the time.
And he works with the Free Nationals too.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, he's got so many things going on that I think they're like waiting so that he can do something when this movie comes out to accompany it. Like do another project, a whole new project, like music project that can associate
like an album
with this.
they roll out with it or something. Yeah, that's smart.
Something like that. So I heard that that's why it might be taking a long time too. But fingers crossed that something good comes out of this and it actually comes out and doesn't just get dropped off the end of just being like, I mean, even if it's released on Amazon, just dropped.
Yeah.
But I hope it gets some recognition and people actually believe in it and promote it.
Oh, wow. The rapper Dumbfounded is in this. Yeah, he's like a Korean rapper. Nice.
Oh, cool. Yeah, I didn't know all the names in it. There's probably a few surprises because he's got a lot of connections and a lot of friends. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if Bruno Mars showed up at some point.
Oh yeah,
but we'll see.
Well, he's got a debt to pay off, so if he's getting paid, Bruno will be there.
Yeah, he's got to get out. Where is he's stuck in Vegas?
MGM, I think it is. Yeah. I think it's MGM. Yeah.
Oh, he's got like a record thing going on.
No,
he's got
an obscene amount of debt, and so it's not a residency by choice.
Allegedly.
Allegedly.
In Vegas.
Yeah. So he has to do he's got to like stay in Vegas and get their money back by doing a residency or something.
Oh,
that's what the rumor is.
The rumor is he's wrecked a few hotel rooms having extensive nights. For
the visual podcast, Chris is rubbing his nose as if to allude to cocaine use. Cocaine use.
That's why you should tune into the visual podcast.
Yeah, you're missing 80% of the content if you don't watch it.
That was just those were for the freaks.
Yeah, and the geeks.
And the geeks.
All right, do you guys like Weezer?
Dude,
When was the last time you guys listened to Weezer? Do you guys follow Weezer still? It's been like they've been around for like almost 30 years.
you're asking two shining sons of God if we like Weezer. Come on now.
Do you guys have a favorite Weezer song?
Pork and beans.
Pork and Beans is a good song, dude.
That was
the music
really
video.
fun.
Wow.
Yeah, music video is great.
Insane.
Um,
My Name is Jonas was a great song on Guitar Hero. That's honestly my extent of Weezer.
Okay.
My Name is Jonas, also a great song.
We've got a whole world to look into, Jake, because Weezer has been making music for like 30 years.
I could save you a lot of time. Just listen to the first two. It gets not great after that. There's a green album and a blue album. Those are the two we're checking out. Don't worry about the rest.
That's when they were writing their own albums. Now I know that they have ghostwriters working constantly, so they always have an album coming. They're always working on an album, but they're not actually working on an album. They have all these people write a bunch of music and then they just come in and record it.
They do have a song that they did on the most recent SpongeBob SquarePants movie. It's Always Sunny in Bikini Bottom. That's really catchy. It's in my rotation of music.
Well, they're dipping their hands into movies. They're making their own movie, which is a mockumentary action biopic, which is, they say it's like a blend of Scott Pilgrim versus the World and the Yal Yankovic movie, the one that Daniel Radcliffe was in. So it's going to be like really hyperbolic and really over the top because it's a mockumentary, but it's supposed to be about Weezer's early days, and to them now it's going to be like just about their whole career. And they announced it when they made a surprise appearance at Coachella this like a couple weeks ago. They said to the crowd that we've been busy making the Weezer movie back in LA the last couple of weeks, which is pretty cool. I would have been excited to hear them announce that in person, and seeing Weezer at Coachella, that would have been cool.
Sounds like a joke.
Yeah, it seems like
it does.
You're like, what is that? But this is as real as it can get too, because they cast Keanu Reeves to be the bad guy. Keanu Reeves and his band Dogstar are supposedly the villains of the movie, and they're going to have a major rivalry with Weezer. And the big thing about that is because Weezer's first show ever was opening for Dogstar back in the 90s.
Whoa.
So it's like it's supposed to be like a full circle thing. Real life Keanu
it's
and his
Keanu
band.
himself as his own band.
Yeah, because Keanu's the bassist for Dogstar, and it was a project he had in the 90s that went away for like 25 years, and they just came back like in the last 5 years.
I just feel like they're going to have to sensationalize this.
Oh yeah, it's going to be very hyperbolic and very surreal. There's going to be elements that are just don't make sense. There's no way. Apparently they've been shooting a lot of stuff for the last couple months. Like they had people who were in the fan club, the specific fan club, showed up just to do like B-roll of them signing autographs and stuff. And then also they were recording the movie during their tour. So at the end of their tour, when they were in LA back in October, the actor Ben Schwartz, who's known for Parks and Rec and his improv, and he's the voice of Sonic, he showed up at the end of the show and was like, all right, I'm going to direct you guys because we're shooting this project. Because Ben Schwartz is in the movie. He's like, at the end of the show, they started shooting this sequence where Ben Schwartz is telling the crowd that now there's this big fight where Weezer is fighting these big villains and react. And then the whole crowd would react. And then he said, what's going to happen now is they're going to follow me and I'm going to be fighting in all these different areas. Now react. And then he said, someone throws a punch at someone from Weezer and you react. And then he says, and then Weezer kicks their butt. Now you react. So imagine being in that show. And then you're like, I'm going to be in the Weezer movie because I got to see him live. That's a pretty cool experience. Yeah, that's a great way to do it.
That's awesome.
But I think this movie is going to be really exciting. I hope they do something really cool with it. Because the cast is Ben Schwartz, Eric Andre, and Johnny Knoxville are all going to be in the movie as well. So they do have real actors. It's rumored that they're going to play themselves, but I don't think they're going to. They're probably going to play other people.
They have to go so obnoxiously weird with this. Like that's the
Sounds
only thing
like
that
it
makes
already
any
is.
sense.
Yeah, I mean having Keanu Reeves as a bad guy, that's pretty exciting already. I'll buy a ticket just for that.
I saw them years ago, and they performed half the show with like a maracas in their hands and a sombrero on their head.
Very
They
cool.
performed like 2 or 3 songs like that.
And not my band.
Yeah, they're
There's something weird though. Is the directors are Henry Joost and Ariel Schulman, and they're known for making movies like the 2010 Catfish movie with Nev Schulman. I think Nev Schulman or something.
Neve, bro. Neve.
Yeah, Chris.
Neve. Come on, dog.
Okay, sorry.
Who's the guest host?
I stand corrected.
Is it the Silver Fox or is it the skinny lady?
Producer Chris knows all. But they did Catfish in 2010, which was their big breakthrough, and they did Paranormal 3 and 4. So having them make a movie like this is very interesting. Yeah, Paranormal Activity 3 and 4.
I like 3. That was my first one I saw.
Really? Is that the one with the blonde girl, or is that the second one?
I don't remember.
It's at
I
the
remember.
house.
I remember there was a scene in the kitchen. Like, you know what they like? One of the gimmicks was that they had a camera in the house on an oscillating fan.
Oh,
and
yeah.
So, like, I mean, what a fucking just every time you turn, like, it would go one direction. You're like, oh no, and then it would just, go back. Like, I think one point, like, it turned back to the kitchen, and like something was just there. All of a sudden, you're like, no.
I need to rewatch those movies because those were really exciting when they came out, and I didn't appreciate them at the time because I was in high school and I was just like, I was expecting something different. But now now I'm older, I think I like them a lot.
I remember seeing the first one and hating it. How scary it was.
What you
I remember being just so scared by it.
Yeah, it is freaky. But I think that's a very promising idea, is Weezer making a movie with Keanu Reeves. And I like Ben Schwartz, Eric Andre, and Jenny Knoxville. So I'm excited to see that.
Those are some good guys.
We're going to get through these next 2 stories real quick. Are you guys fans of Green Day?
Dookie.
You like Dookie? Or no,
yeah, I like Green Day.
I know Green Day. Dookie.
Dookie.
Are you guys fans at all?
Well, I mean,
you just heard of them?
The 2000s. Of course.
Yeah, it's just I don't think I've.
You guys keep saying like I've heard them. Yep, they're a band.
I have. I have heard them.
Green Day's not somebody I wake up in the morning and go, oh, time to listen to some Green Day today.
That's true.
Yeah.
I remember he did a cameo in This Is 40 where like one of that British guy, I don't know his name, but he turns around, he's like, "Shut the fuck up, Tom Selleck." That was a good part. Yeah, that was Billy Joel Osment or whatever his name is, the singer.
Billy Joe Armstrong.
Billy Joe Armstrong. Yeah.
Yeah, Billy Joe Armstrong. That's funny. There's this movie that's coming out then, but that's inspired by Green Day. Green Day will be featured in the movie, but I'm excited because it sounds like it could be pretty promising, because it's not necessarily a Green Day biopic, but it's inspired by the life of Green Day. But Green Day is also a character in the movie. The movie's called New Year's Rev, which I don't really get why it's called that. If you guys can tell me what you think that means after I tell you the synopsis, I don't really know what New Year's Rev would be about. But the film is a coming-of-age story of 3 friends who journey to Los Angeles, causing mayhem and mischief for their big break as a band, opening for Green Day on New Year's Eve. Their road trip is a rowdy, mischievous jaunt across the country filled with adventures based on the exploits of Green Day and their years living in a tour van. Why do you think it's called New Year's Rev?
I think it's Revolution.
It's in a van. No, because it's
New
in a
Year's
van.
Revolution?
Oh, and it's in a van. It's a revving revolution.
Oh, a rev is a van.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like revving. I like Revolution more, but I don't want to give them that much credit.
Because I think they should change the title. New Year's
Yeah,
Rev.
I don't love the title.
It seems really strange. Maybe it's just a placeholder title, but I was not interested when I found out it was called New Year's Rev. I was like, oh, okay. But then I found out a lot of other stuff about it.
I know what this is. New Year's Reverend. It's New Year's Reverend. It's about the church. They come in on New Year's. They have mass, and Green Day's going to be there.
Oh, okay.
That one did not land. That's all right.
We should change the title.
Move on to the next joke. Okay, all right.
That was a joke?
Go and cut that. Okay.
Over my head. So this movie is written and directed by a guy named Lee Kirk, who is actually married to Jenna Fisher from The Office, who played Pam. He's directed one other movie called The Giant Mechanical Man in 2012. He also directed an episode of The Office called Vandalism The one where Pam tries to find out who vandalized her mural, and a movie called Ordinary World that starred Billy Joe Armstrong, which was actually a pretty decent movie, considering everything that you have to take in consideration that Billy Joe Armstrong's not an actor and he's the main guy in it. And so they made a movie that's based off one of their songs called Ordinary World. It's worth watching. It's not the best. So I'm hoping that this is a kickoff to something very exciting because I like the cast too. This cast is Mason Thames, who's going to be the new Hiccup in the live action How to Train Your Dragon. He's also in a very good movie on Netflix called Incoming, which I would recommend to you guys. It's a high school party movie. And he also made his big debut with Black Phone. And then the next two who are in the band, they're up-and-comers. I haven't seen them in a lot of stuff. They don't have a lot of credits. Fred Armisen's in the movie. Jenna Fisher's obviously in the movie because she's married to him, the director. Angela Kingsley, who's in The Office as well. And, of course, the Green Day guys are going to be in it. And Keen Ruffalo, who's Mark Ruffalo's son, is making his way into acting.
Nepotism.
Yeah, Keen Ruffalo, who was previously a Saharan citizen in Thor Ragnarok, is making his debut in another movie.
Nice. What a come up.
Sense.
Make him a background character. You're like fifth build.
Yeah, just bring your child to work day.
Yeah.
I think this movie is going to be very promising now. I hope, or it could just be I don't know. It's being produced by Live Nation Entertainment, which I didn't know they produced movies because I thought they just did concerts.
Like concert people.
Like Live Nation, where you can get concert tickets. They produced the movie. They also produced Anderson Paak's K-pop movie. So they're making their way out, and it seems like they're not doing the best job because I don't see any distribution for a lot of their movies.
Damn.
But I'm looking forward to that one. Green Day inspired movie called New Year's Rev. They got to change that title. What do you guys think about that movie?
A24 didn't want to pick those ones up.
Yeah. Do you guys have any opinions on how you think this movie will play out?
It sounds like Green Day meets The Office. This is kind of honestly what I got from it. So
yeah, that's what they're kind of leaning on that.
It's shocking how many. The fact that there was 3 different stories about like bands being made into movies recently is shocking. Like that's way too many for a month's worth of news, let alone a year.
I know. I was surprised. I was kind of excited when I found out that there's 3 of these. I'm like, hey, I have a theme.
This is out of trend right now, right? Like this is what Hollywood or like this is what the companies want to do is they want to make movies about people that are like, I know that guy, like I want to go watch that, and they made a movie about a British rocker who was a monkey in it, and it's just like they're so out of touch.
I still want to see that.
I heard it's actually really good, but it's just so
I heard it's
funny
good,
that,
but
like,
the subject
America,
that they chose,
yeah, everyone in America has like no fucking idea who Robbie Williams is.
Yeah, they're trying to play him out like he was a global star. It's like he wasn't big in America.
No,
he had like one hit that you probably recognize.
Yeah, no one knows who it is. That's what the
Bob Dylan one. The Bob Dylan biopic was so successful, though. I think people,
but
like people want to see these movies. Yeah,
but that guy's had 50 plus years of history.
It's true.
Yeah,
so like that's why.
Like, cultural, he was like big in Vietnam too, like big moments. Not like it was his own story. He was a part of other storylines.
Well, and to be honest with you, like none of these are really like any of the movies we talked about. None of them are biopics per se. Like even the Green Day one is like loosely inspired about their journey as a young band, being punks and going around the punk scene in the 90s and early 2000s, which like I think that's fun. And it's funny. It almost goes back to like if they make it like in a National Lampoon style where it's goofy, it's raunchy, it's funny, like then I think that's actually a really fun Green Day movie. But if it's like, if it's serious, if it's like on the nose with everything, and it's like, you know, oh, they're alcoholics, or oh, they're dealing with like the sadness of being on the road, or like whatever, like then no, I think this would be a really stupid movie. But I mean, it's Green Day, like they should be raunchy, they should be funny, it should be debaucherous. Yeah,
I think that's what they had that trouble with the Queen biopic Bohemian Rhapsody is they wanted like originally the guy who's going to play Freddie Mercury was Sacha Baron Cohen, who plays Borat.
What?
And he wanted to go really deep and dark with his addictions and his sexuality and everything, and he wanted to tell the true story of what Queen was like back in the day, and Queen didn't want that. They're like, no, we're just gonna have a highlights of the best of Queen.
Yeah, Rami Malek.
We're not going to tell anything. We're not going to tell anything bad about the movie. We're just going to keep our image and keep it clean. It's like, but that's not what you guys were back in the day. And so that's why Sacha Baron Cohen dropped out. Yeah. It's just a highlight. So
move on.
It sounds like you want the opposite with Green Day. You want to see them get into the nitty gritty of their struggle. Oh wait, no, you didn't. You said that would be boring. Or no, I don't want it to be a drama.
Yeah, I don't want it to be a drama. Like I don't like they're a band in the 90s. Rock stars. Yeah. They're kids like coming up in the peak like grunge era where like punk wasn't really punk anymore and it was becoming grunge. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I think what'll be interesting to see is like Green Day's big thing was like they were so big in that scene for the longest time where like everybody liked them, and then they sold out and they signed with a record label and they started getting a lot bigger overnight, and their fandom plummeted, like absolutely plummeted when they first did that. So I wonder if that's what this movie will kind of like explore, is like how popular they were when they were independent, and then how much they like how the money and everything came in and made them immediately not as cool.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think it's going to be like that at all, this Inspired movie.
No, I don't think so either.
I also have
That's what we need to make it.
I think I know how this movie is going to end, is I think they find out that they're not actually opening for Green Day, but I think Green Day finds out about the band and goes to one of their shows and like, we're going to open for them, and it's going to cause them to be like, they're going to still going to win sort of thing. But
yeah, it's
going to be a happy ending sort of thing. But I hope it's kind of I hope it's debaucherous still. I like that word. So I'm going to say it again, debaucherous. Out of those three movies, Green Day, Weezer, and Anderson .Paak, which one are you most looking forward to?
I like the Anderson .Paak one because it's an original idea instead of some. I think actually Weezer could be funny. That idea
Weezer has the potential.
Yeah, it has the potential. I think Anderson .Paak has the easiest time getting to something good because it's an original idea. Weezer could be hilarious if they're like with the Keanu Reeves band, Dog Tooth.
Dogstar, yeah.
Dogstar.
Dogtooth is my band.
And then the Green Day movie, I don't know.
What about you, Chris? Which one? Anderson .Paak?
No, I think the Weezer one has the most like chance
like
to
anyway, because it could be it could be anything. How they
it has so many different options and directions that I could go in that I think that would be kind of fun.
So our last story, I want to go quickly. I just want to know, what do you guys think of Sydney Sweeney? And you're not allowed to say anything about her chest.
Oh, man.
Well, then, not much to say.
No opinion.
I don't know, dude. I have not seen her.
She's attractive.
She's the flavor of the season, flavor of the times. Like she's the Kate Upton was the hot mess for whenever we were teenagers, and then somebody else has come along every once in a while and changes it.
I think Sydney Sweeney has a lot more power than she did, though.
Well, she has a bigger chest. Oh shit!
Have you guys seen her act at all?
She was great in Euphoria because she was a fucking train wreck. But then, like in other movies, I don't know. She just doesn't have a lot of like charisma with people. I don't feel like I saw her she was great when she was breaking down in Euphoria, and then every other acting is just like, I don't know. I'm not a fan.
Yeah, I'm glad that you saw Euphoria because I never got into Euphoria, so I never really saw her breakout role. I saw her in Madame Web and the movie You Again, and I thought Madame Web, nothing was working for Madame Web, so I can't give her that much flack for it because all of it was bad. But You Again kind of grew on me. I didn't like it at first. It was kind of like have you ever heard of the movie You Again? Is it called You Again? I think it is. The rom-com she was in that made like a shit ton of money.
What's it called?
It's on Netflix now. You Again?
Oh, the one with Glenn Powell?
Yeah, is it called You Again? Is that correct?
No, You Again is apparently something from 2010. I think this is something else.
Not You. It's not You Again. It's but she did this romantic comedy with Glenn Powell.
It's
that
anyone
but you.
Yeah.
Anyone But You. You. What is? Okay, yeah. You Again is wrong. Anyone But You. Mm-hmm. That one grew on me. I gave it like 2.5 stars, and even when I watch it now, it's still like 2.5 stars, which is right in the middle. But it has moments, but she wasn't my favorite thing about it. Like I liked everything around her. I liked the scenario. I like Glenn Powell, but she didn't really blow me away in anything she did. I never saw her in The White Lotus. She's been acting for a long time, and she's still really young. She's only 27, but she's an executive producer for her own stuff now, so she's making her own stuff. And one of the first things she's making is this split fiction movie, which is based on a video game that just came out this year, which I loved. Did either of you guys play Split Fiction yet? Or is that not you?
No, I don't have friends.
Something about it, but I don't know anything about it, really.
I'll play it with you, Chris. I'll play it again. It's really fun.
Thanks, man.
Oh, it's
a
like an
co-op
It Takes Two kind of game?
It's like, yeah, it's by the same creators of It Takes Two. It's a co-op game where you play the game at the same time in your different worlds. What the synopsis says is, Split Fiction is a co-op adventure game that follows a pair of authors, Mia and Zoe, who become trapped in worlds they created, causing a blend of fantasy and science fiction worlds to collide. They have to work together as strangers to escape and find the true, maybe sinister motives of the company that invited them to use this new immersive world-building technology. And I think it's going to win Game of the Year this year, especially because Grand Theft Auto 6 got delayed to next year. Are you guys upset about that?
No,
I don't care.
It was the most.
Grand Theft Auto.
Wow. Okay.
I read that and went, oh, cool. They said what release date now? Because
will they make another trailer? That would be cool.
Yeah, there's zero chance.
One of the devs said we don't want to give any more trailers. We already showed enough. I was like, interesting choice.
Not to get into the weeds too much on it, but after how much they've had leak about that game over the last 2 years, I don't blame them for being a little jaded in terms of we're tired of putting shit out. We'll share it when we're ready.
Yeah, the Elden Ring strategy where they just go silent for 3 years and they're like, yeah, it's fucking done, and then it's coming out in a month.
Yeah. My opinion on this movie is it seems weird to make a movie about or from a game that just came out like so quickly.
It broke records. That's why they wanted to hop on it while it's still hot.
Really?
Yeah, it was super popular.
Wow.
It was really popular.
When it first came out. I don't know. It feels like, hey, here's game everybody knows. Here's actress that everybody knows. Go see it, kind of thing. And
it's exactly what they're doing. Yeah,
feels shallow.
But they already have They have writers attached and a director, so they're fast tracking this movie. It's probably going to come out next year. Honestly, probably going to shoot it toward the end of this year. But the director is John M. Chu, who just did the 2 Wicked movies, which are wildly successful. So they're really riding the coattails of success. Mm-hmm. As well as the writers are Rhett Reese and Paul Wernick, who wrote Deadpool and Wolverine. The Zombieland movies, and Deadpool 1 and 2. So they're really putting together a team of people who make money. Like Deadpool and Wolverine broke records too.
You could say.
Yeah. So the fact that they're fast tracking this in a way that I hope I hope they care about it and it's not just a paycheck, because I think this could be really well done. But I don't know what John M. Chu is going to do by having 2 separate worlds, fantasy and science fiction. I don't know how he's going to be able to blend that smoothly. I mean, the whole thing is that it doesn't blend. But I don't know. I don't really trust John M. Chu for these type of visual action. The last action movies he did was Now You See Me 2 and G.I. Joe Retaliation. So, I mean, he did do Step Up 2 and Step Up 3D. So, hey, he could make a piece of art again. We'll see.
Hey, Step Ups are great films.
I've never seen them.
Neither have I.
The first Now You See Me is pretty good, but then the second one.
I think they're all okay. Like they're
actually. Did you see the trailer for the third one recently?
Yeah, that seems promising. It's a good cast.
No, they should have called it Now You 3 Me.
Oh man, I can't wait till they don't.
That's what it's called. It's called Now You See Me: Now You Don't.
Are you serious?
Yeah,
that's 100% true. They went with it. That's just because movie studios struggle with adding numbers for sequels, because the higher the number of sequel, the less money it'll make usually. That's what they realize. So they want to avoid having a 3. Now You See Me 3. They just want it to be its own title. So that's a little studio thing that they do.
Makes sense.
But that's our episode. That was exciting. It was a little longer than I thought it would be, but we made it through, and I hope people are still listening, because we have some exciting news or an exciting thing to tease for next week's episode. I don't know how to tease this. I guess I'll just ask the question and see your thoughts without spoiling anything. But next week we're playing something called Box Office Redux. Right. Or Redux. Box Office Redux.
Let's retake that.
Redux.
Next week we're doing something very exciting. We're doing a game called Box Office Redux. And the prompt is, what if A24 Redux, potato, what if A24 remade The Hangover? And without spoiling anything, what I don't know how to tease it. That's just what we're doing next week. We're recasting The Hangover. I don't know how to tease it.
What would they do? What would A24 do with that movie?
Yeah.
I can't wait to hear about it next week.
Me neither. Would they make it like a Bridesmaid where they make them all female? Would they make them like, I don't know. Maybe one of us did that. Who knows?
Maybe.
Join us next week when we talk all about A24 and we recast The Hangover. That should be exciting. I don't know. I put tease it, but I don't know how to tease it without spoiling it. It's been a while since we did a box office redux.
You know, it's The Hangover, but let's modernize it a little bit. Let's bring it into
a little bit.
Yeah.
I think the last box office redux we did was we built the cast for Knives Out 2 before the sequel came out. That was a lot of names. That was a lot of fun.
That was an insane choice.
We had like 10 actors each, and I was like, this is a lot of names.
Yeah.
But it's we made it an American. Oh, and then we also did an American Squid Game. We recast Squid Game and made it. Oh my God,
100 people?
No.
Each.
Yeah.
Like 200.
Yeah. But so I'm excited to bring this segment back, Box Office Redux, and we'll be doing that next week. And next week's episode is all about A24, so if you're looking forward to that, so are we. Do you guys have anything to do for a send-off this week? Any words of wisdom, Chris?
Make sure you check your water heater for leakage. It could lead to mold or other house issues.
Facts.
Chris has some good advice. Last time he was on the episode, he said, do your taxes. They're coming up.
I like that.
Some good advice.
Yep.
Nice. Yeah.
You're welcome.
You had to.
Thank you.
It was tax season. But thank you guys for listening. You can find us on Spotify, Apple, or anywhere you listen to podcasts. We're on TikTok. You can follow these guys on social media if you find them. That's our episode this week. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next week with A24. I guess bye. I didn't say bye, but that was the end.
It's that thing.
That is so fetch.
You love them, and they know it.
How the hell you gonna get fired on your day off? Yeah, I was high when I said that. Tell them.
What we're talking about is money. Real money. Amigo money. No dough, no show.
Hamburger, the cornerstone of any nutritious breakfast.
How, I mean, funny like I'm a clown.
That guy in little gold.
Take it off, dickhead. I'm serious.
My flag boy and your flag boy sitting by the fire.
My flag boy said to your flag boy. Hey, man.
Set your body on fire. I just said, hey now.